Hello and welcome to the Stars and Pars podcast. This is the show where golf betting meets astrology. Yes, I am dead serious. My name is Evan Engel. I've been betting on golf with astrology for like 3 years now, and I've found a ton of success. And if you're new to the podcast, I've been doing this for like 6 months. I think the first episode I ever did was the 2025 Open, the British Open. And, I've been posting on the subreddit, the sportsbook subreddit in the golf tab on the weekly tournament thread for like the last few years. I've called myself the astrology guy there. So if you're coming from there, you recognize that name, that's me. So here I am today. This is the first tournament of the 2026 season. Very exciting. I've only been recording audio up to this point. This is my first time doing video, like being on camera. So this is like a little nerve-wracking for me, a little different. Regardless, I'm excited to do this, and we've found a ton of success the last 6 months, even during the fall when I was kind of like just doing episodes to kind of fine-tune myself and kind of figure out what this show is really. But I think I found a good flow. I trust the content that I make. I trust the picks I make. And, I'm not going to fully explain my method on here. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys don't even believe in astrology or care about astrology. It's a ton of chicks are into astrology. It's usually how it goes. But I'm not going to call myself a professional astrologer, but I've been an enthusiast and a hobbyist of astrology for like 12 years now. Mainly just because I was always curious about people and why certain people are different and why certain people get along and why certain people don't get along, and et cetera, et cetera. But, 12 years later, here I am applying this to making golf picks. And, and I've dabbled with like a little bit of other sports with astrology and stuff. But if you really want to hear the whole spiel, just go find the Stars and Pars podcast on Spotify. Go to the first episode. You scroll all the way down. I explain my method, why I choose golf as the main sport to make picks with astrology. And I'll just briefly sum it up. Basically, golf is one of, if not the most individual sport, in the world. That you can bet on, at least, when it comes to basketball, baseball, football, which I've all dabbled in. And, astrology does hit and does make sense. But it's so tough when there's so many variables on the field. Like, for instance, basketball, there's 10 guys on the court, and if your one guy is going to have a career night, astrology wise, or like he's like this, he's got certain signs in the sky that are like going to illuminate a lot of his chart. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have a great career game regardless, because there could be a guy in the other team who also has a career night. It could be like a defensive guy. It could like shut down the other guy, if that makes sense. Like and like same with football, there's a lot that has to go right for your guy to get the ball or whatever. But I don't know. It's hard to explain. Long story short, golf is the one sport where it's the individual, it's the player and their ball against the course. There's nobody playing defense on them, other than, weather, I guess, or just course terrain. But that being said, it's such an individual sport that, they have to rely a lot on their own mentality, physicality, endurance in some cases, and just, it's a long season, and these guys travel all over the country, all over the world, and it's taxing. But when it comes down to a player, just in their golf ball against the course, it's usually the easiest to predict with astrology. That being said, am I always right? No. Like, I'm wrong a lot of the time, just as much as any of the other famous or big time content creators who make weekly, golf betting picks every week. Golf is the hardest sport to bet on. This week you're picking the one winner out of 120 people. And most weeks it's usually like 150, 160 people in the field, and so that being said, it's so hard to make picks, so hard to get it right, but we usually have at least a dog or two in the fight comes, every Sunday. and that's all you can really ask for when you're betting on golf. I also approach golf betting kind of like roulette, where, I play roulette. I like using about $10, like $1 chips across, all of the numbers. And if you hit one, it's usually like a 1 to 34, 35, 36 payout. So if you're spreading your chips out of, like, let's say you put 10 down, if you hit one of them, well, you just made a 26, chip profit if you only put 10 down or whatever. So for me, it's like golf is kind of the same way. I try to take no more than like 10% of the field, but usually like less, depending on how I'm feeling that week. But, to each their own, how you want to spread your units, micro units. I'll kind of, go into like how I make my picks. I don't just pick outright winners. I also play top 10, top 5, top 20, top 30 markets, first round leader markets for fun. Sometimes hole-in-one markets. Those are rare. But like, top, European, top national, like top rest of the world, whatever the category may be. I always try to find somewhere just to have a little bit of fun with all the units, and to each their own. Spread your units the way you want to, but when it comes to like first round leader picks or hole-in-one picks, like those are like baby micro units. Do not ever go crazy on those. Those are literally just for fun. They're so hard to hit. First round leaders are the hardest bet to hit in golf, but regardless, I'm getting off topic now. That being said, I always say I use astrology because it's the Nick Dunlap theory. When he came on 2 years ago at the Amex, I think it was 2024, and he surprised the world and he won it as an amateur. My whole point about astrology, about the Stars and Parts podcast, is that any given week can be anyone's career week. And in astrology, there's a ton of different houses, and every house represents something else. And this, if you're not new to astrology, this is probably gonna go right over your head. Long story short, there's a house called the career house. It's the 10th house, right? Everybody has one. You can look yours up. You can go find YouTube videos that will explain it way better than I could. But the point is I try to target guys or girls. I dabble with LPGA as well. Whatever tournament's going on, I try to get some sort of exposure in. But whoever has the career heightened sign in the sky that weekend or that week, according to like their personal birth chart, that's usually what I'm targeting. So I'll kind of explain, I guess, a little bit as we kind of get into the picks and stuff, but this is just for anyone who's new, who's never heard this, or, obviously nobody's watched this before. This is my first time recording the podcast, but there's a method to the madness, I promise, and just bear with me. And at the end of the day, if you just want to tail the picks, tail them. I will explain, I will talk about a lot of these guys' birth charts and like why I think they might have a good week or not or whatever. But let's just get right into it because we're already 8 minutes into this and I'm trying to keep this under an hour. We got 2 tournaments this week to cover. We got the Sony Open 2026 and we have the Dubai Invitational, I believe, which is the DP World Tour's first. It's not technically the first event of 2026, but of the 2026 calendar, it is their first event. But that being said, we're going to start with the Sony Open. Let me pull up my notes here. So I'm going to start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I got 10 guys written down here that I'm going to put a unit on in the outright market. This is all DraftKings Sportsbook numbers, by the way. So go off that, if you will. So that being said, every week I pretty much start off by talking about this week's transits and like where the sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars and Jupiter are. As you go more outer on the solar system, those planets stay longer. They have a longer orbit around the sun, obviously. So week to week, a lot of these won't change that much, but every few weeks, every few months or so, they will be changing, and they're very important to talk about. I used to ignore this stuff when I first started doing this. I would only pay attention to a person's sun, moon, and rising sign. Really not even the rising sign, just the sun and the moon sign, which still found some success. But as I've dug deeper, every week I'm wrong. I analyze who won. I look at their birth chart, compare it to the chart in the sky, and ask myself why they may have won that week. So that being said, Let's talk about this week's transits. We are in Capricorn season right now. The sun is in Capricorn. So, most people know their sun signs. If you had a birthday recently, you're a Capricorn. Happy birthday. This is your time. This is your season. And, when the sun is in your sign, you get a boost. You feel good. It's your birth month. It's like your identity. It's kind of enriches who you are, how you feel about yourself. It's like a reset to your astrological new year, if that makes sense. And so it's very important to pay attention to where the sun is. The moon is like kind of the emotional part of, I think people are more like their moon signs than anything else. You can look yours up, ask your girlfriend or your girl best friend. They'll look it up for you. They'll know. Yeah, long story short, Mercury is about the planet of communication and thinking. This is how I think, guys, go over, talking with their caddy when they're about to hit a ball, the different ways they can talk. Like, that's kind of how they process things. It's like their Mercury sign. Venus has to do with like your passion, your zest for life in a way. So I think, you have to love what you do, right? And these guys have to love to play golf. So sometimes when Venus is in an important sign to that person's chart, it kind of invigorates their passion to play and to win, their desire to win. And then Mars, I think, is one of, if not the most important planet to pay attention to, because Mars is the planet of action and physicality. It's massively important for all athletes alike. So I really pay attention to where Mars is compared to a person that I'm looking at their birth chart, like where their Mars is. So if I haven't lost you yet, I'm going to get to the picks right now. Don't worry. I'm just trying to kind of give a explanation for how I make my picks. Anyway, this week we have a ton of Capricorn in the sky. It's Capricorn sun, Mercury's in Capricorn, Venus is in Capricorn, and Mars is in Capricorn. Now, Venus will be moving into Aquarius on Saturday, which is something important to think about, and I'll get into that eventually. But basically, the moon is also very important because the moon is the closest celestial body to us. So it technically has the strongest effect on us, but the moon shifts, or it orbits us every 2.5 days. So typically speaking, for a 4-day tournament, you're going to have 2 different moon signs, sometimes 3, depending on the time of the start of the tournament. But this week, actually, we do technically have 3 this week. Thursday, the moon will be in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. And then on Friday at 3:48 Pacific time, I go off Pacific time, I'm on the West Coast, the moon will be moving into Capricorn. So it's going to be a Capricorn sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Ton of Cap, okay? And I'll explain all that in a minute. And then on Sunday, now because they're in Hawaii, they're like behind us, like 2 hours, I think. But at 2:19 p.m. Pacific time, so I think 12:19 Hawaii time, which they'll be like midway through the last round on Sunday. And Sunday is the most important day to pay attention to when I make my picks. The moon is going to shift into Aquarius, and that's really the target. Like, who's going to benefit the most from that Aquarius moon on Sunday, but also who's going to benefit from the Thursday Sagittarius moon and the Friday Saturday Capricorn moon with all the other Capricorn placements. So here's how I do this. I always look at like who is the career boosted sign this week, right? So this week, ton of Capricorn, which means Capricorn's an earth sign. So all earth signs, guys with earth signs, a lot of earth signs in their charts are really people I've been paying attention to. But who gets the most career boost per se, I guess what I'm trying to say, this week is Aries. Capricorn is the 10th house for Aries. So Aries signs are pretty much the play of the week. Also because Aries and Sagittarius are both fire, so it's like a vibe. It's like who's going to vibe the best with the energy of the day based on their own personal birth chart. That's how I look at it, and that's how I've made the picks, and that's how I've hit a lot of winners. I've lost count on how many winners I've hit. I say that as humbly as I can because I still lose a ton. So that being said, it's a long game. Golf, you can hit crazy profit in 1 week. But again, it's a long season, so I'm just trying to make profit throughout the whole season. And if I come away with a few units profit at the end of the week, it's a win for me. That's how I look at it. I do this for fun. So if I'm ever wrong and you tell me, proceed with caution. Bet at your own risk. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose, and don't come at me with some pitchforks, and torches if I'm wrong, because I am wrong. I'm human. I'm human making decisions, So that being said, I don't know if I said this or not earlier, but like astrology, the way I see astrology with golf, obviously talent is everything. Talent can always trump the astrology, if that makes sense. Scotty Scheffler can win any given week. But that being said, with astrology, how I see it is, for instance, this week Aries have the career sign, like all the Capricorn in the sky. I see it as like the door is open for these guys to win, for like Aries placements with Earth placements in their chart to walk through the door and win. They still got to do it though. It's not going to be handed to them. No one's ever going to be given a W. But golf again is really, it's who makes the least mistakes and who scores the lowest amount, and every course is different. I think this week it's a little bit of a birdie fest, but not fully. So that being said, I'm looking for the guys who have the astrological door open this week for them to potentially win. And if Nick Dunlap as an amateur could win against that crazy talented field that week, anybody can win on any given week. That's the logic, that's the theory, and that's what this whole podcast is really based on, okay? That being said, let's get back to business now. Okay, so Sagittarius Thursday is the career Sagittarius brings out the career sector for Pisces. Just make that for a note. That's for the first round leader stuff. But Pisces will get a boost. Pisces also is really compatible with Capricorn, so that's like a good sign. The only thing about Pisces is Aquarius is their 12th house, which is like their sleepy house. So if they're like a predominantly strong Pisces chart, I don't see them winning. I do see them having a better start than finish, if that makes sense. And we see this all the time. Guys start out really strong, first round leaders, and they fizzle out. Sometimes they, finish outside the top 40. It just happens sometimes. That being said, I'm looking for the guys who can work with the Sag moon, the Capricorn moon, and all the other Capricorn placements, and then that important Aquarius moon on Sunday. Whoever can vibe with all three of those transits within those 4 days that they're playing the tournament, that's who I'm really targeting this week, if that makes sense. So anyway, basically fire and earth signs this week are massive plays because Sag and Capricorn are both fire, and also as a fire sign, earth in general is like a career work related house or like element for fire, and that's good because these guys are out here working. This is what they do for a living. This is something to pay attention to when we're making a pick. Sorry, I'm just checking my phone to see if it's still going. Not overheating. Okay, good. All right. So that being said, when we get to Sunday, then that Aquarius moon pops in. Aquarius is going to light up the career sector for Tauruses. Tauruses are an earth sign. So Tauruses, in theory, are the play of the week. Aries and Taurus combinations, if that makes sense, because those are the two career sectors that we're looking for, but they're also sharing the same elements that will be in the sky. So Aquarius moon will bring out the career sector for Tauruses. So Tauruses are going to vibe with all the Capricorn all week long, especially with like the outer planets that have Capricorn in them right now. And if somebody else has Aquarius in their chart on top of having some fire and earth, then I probably wrote them down, if that makes sense. So I feel like I'm blabbering now. Let's get into the actual picks now that we're almost 20 minutes into this bad boy. All right. So all that being said, we're talking about Sagittarius, because Sagittarius placements themselves also should have a good boost this week. Tauruses are a massive play. Aries are a massive play, and so are Capricorns and Pisces to an extent, okay? That being said, my first pick of the week, we're going Ben Griffin, plus 1,700, unless they updated that number. No, he's plus 1,700. He is a Taurus, Sun, Mercury, and Mars. Ton of Taurus right there. He's a Sagittarius moon, even though I don't have the exact time. It's either Sag or Cap. It's like a close in between. I think it's Sag moon, so let's go with that. And he's also Sagittarius Jupiter. Or is he Capricorn Jupiter? I forget. It's one of those two. Jupiter is like an outer planet. Doesn't have as much an effect from like the week to week stuff, but it's just something to kind of pay attention to. I don't go past Jupiter, if that makes sense. I'm sure most of you could give a crap about that. Anyway, Ben Griffin's Venus is in Gemini, which is an air sign, which is important because Venus is going to be in Aquarius on Saturday. Also, when the moon comes in on Sunday, it's going to vibe with his Venus. It's hard to explain. I don't know exactly how it correlates, but Venus does play a big part in people who win tournaments. His rising sign is Aries, I believe. Some of these guys, I'm not 100% sure on their birth times, but you know, just based on like their past performances, it's kind of like a guess. But a lot of these guys have their actual birth charts online. You can look it up. But if not, you can like look up their birth chart like on a birth chart calculator. There's certain sites you can do that. So if his Aries is his rising, then Capricorn should be his midheaven. That's just kind of a guess. But based on his past performances, that's like what I've kind of concluded to. So we're just going to go with that. Basically, he's got the Aries, he's got the Cap, he's got the Sag and the Taurus, and he's got Gemini, which is an air sign. Ben Griffin should be in the mix on the final day, and hopefully he should win it if he's there, you know. But we're moving on. My next pick is Corey Connors at plus 3,000. He's a Capricorn sun and midheaven. He's an Aquarius moon. That's where the moon's going to be on Sunday. He's an Aries rising. He's got the 3 signs we're looking for. And then he's got a Sagittarius, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, which is huge for this, especially the first 2 days, or 3 days actually. And a Virgo Jupiter. I just have a funny feeling. I think Corey Connors will be right there on Sunday. Okay. Moving on to another fellow Canadian, Nick Taylor, who won it last year, I believe. He's an Aries, Sun, Mercury, and midheaven. Taurus, Moon, and Jupiter. There it is, Aries and Taurus. Cancer rising, Gemini, Venus, like Ben Griffin. Here's why I really like him, though. His Mars is Aquarius. And again, Mars is a huge play because Mars is like, if any of you golf, right? Like I'm sure some of you do. If you go out certain day, there's just certain days where the putts are falling, your swing's in motion, everything feels in sync, you know, and you're like, oh, golf is easy. And then you go out a week later and you can't find, you can't find your swing. You're shanking everything. Putts are lipping in and out. Like you're missing things. Things are out of sort. It just happens. It's just part of the game. And that's where I think Mars has to play into this kind of thing. So that being said, when the moon will be in Aquarius on Sunday, Nick Taylor's Mars, which is also in Aquarius, should be lit up, which means his swing, his focus, everything, his drive should be like synced up with the moon. And Aquarius brings out his Taurus moon, career sector. It's a really good combination. He's got a lot of career signs in the sky for him this week. Watch out for Nick Taylor. All right. Another Earth fire guy we're going after this week is Chris Kirk, plus 4,000. Taurus sun and midheaven, Capricorn moon, Leo rising, fire and earth. That's what we're looking for. Taurus midheaven, Aries, Mercury, and Venus. Guys, Mars and Gemini, air sign, fellow air sign, Aquarius, Jupiter, which Jupiter has to do a little bit with luck, a little bit with career stuff. So if it's synced up with the moon, massive, massive, massive. And again, he's got a lot of Taurus, which will bring out the career sector for Taurus. So Chris Kirk might be one of my top plays this week. Okay, moving on. Keith Mitchell. I'm going to write down Keith Mitchell plus 5,000. Now, I always say if a guy, it's like the Nikolai and Rasmus Højgaard twins. I always say, because like they have pretty much identical charts, minus like 1 or 2 things, I think, because they were like a few minutes apart. You basically, if you take one guy that's got a similar chart, you kind of have to take the other. And this is the case with Keith Mitchell and Corey Connors, who I believe, if I check this right, they're born on the same day. And what's even more eerie is that they have the same rising and midheaven, and their rising sign is determined every like hour, if you know anything about astrology. So they must have been born seriously like minutes apart or less than an hour apart. I'm not entirely sure, but it's crazy because they have like exactly the same chart. So if you take one, you kind of have to take the other. So Keith Mitchell plus 5,000, same chart as Corey Connors. He's a Capricorn sun and midheaven, Aquarius moon, Aries rising, Sagittarius, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, Virgo, Jupiter. We'll see what happens. Moving down, I wrote down Brian Harmon plus 4,500, Capricorn sun, Virgo moon, Taurus rising, all earth. Which is kind of concerning for the first 2 days. But he's in Aquarius, midheaven, and Mercury. That's what we're looking for, because that moon's going to be in Aquarius on Sunday. And then here's some fire in his chart. Sagittarius, Venus, huge, and Aries and Mars, huge. Pisces, Jupiter, pretty good too. The only thing that concerns me about his chart is Virgo. Virgo and Sag don't really get along too well. It's kind of like 12 and 4 on the clock. They kind of butt heads, if that makes sense, energy-wise. But I think because his Venus is Sagittarius, which is where the moon will be on the first day or two, I think it kind of will negate or cancel out the Virgo aspect of his chart, okay? Moving on to my next pick. This is probably one of my top 3 picks of the week, this guy right here. Matt McCarty. Sagittarius Sun, Taurus Moon, and Midheaven. Similar to Ben Griffin. Leo Rising, Fire and Earth, baby. Capricorn, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. That's huge because that's where Cap is right now. Mercury, Venus, and Mars are also in Capricorn. His chart, his natal chart when he was born, also had Capricorn and Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And then his Jupiter, Aquarius. There's not a bad sign in his chart this week. Matt McCarty might start off the year with the first W on the tour. We'll see. I'm really big on Matt McCarty this week. Very excited to see what happens. Moving on, Michael Brennan. Now, if you follow along my podcast, I'll follow along. I've mentioned him a few times. I missed him the week he won, but ever since he won, I have not taken my eye off this guy. He's a winner, and I think he's gonna he might be Rookie of the Year, like a solid Rookie of the Year candidate this year. He's Aquarius, Sun, and Venus. Capricorn, Moon, Mercury, and Midheaven. Aquarius and Capricorn, perfect. Aries, Rising, and Mars. Cancer, Jupiter, plus 6,500. Sign me up. We'll see what happens. All right, 2 more guys before I get to some long shots. Ryan Gerard, plus 6,000. He played really well at his last fall event. He didn't win, but he was in the mix. So I liked that. But he's a Leo Sun, he's an Aries Moon, Taurus Rising and Jupiter, Fire and Earth, Capricorn Midheaven, Virgo Venus, Cancer Mercury, Mars and Scorpio. That's the only thing I don't like is that Scorpio Mars. But plus 6,000, like, he just has too much Earth and Fire in his chart to not at least give it a go, okay? Not as confident in Ryan Gerard, but we'll see. And this last guy, I really teeter-tottered with a little bit, but he's plus 9,000. It's a little longer shot. Max McGreevy. Can't tell you if I've ever really bet on this guy before, but he's a Taurus Sun and Rising. He's a Gemini Moon and Mercury. So Earth and Air. But hold on. Aquarius Midheaven. Huge. And I'll explain the Midheaven in a second. I don't think I've talked about the Midheaven. But his Venus is Aries, Fire. Leo Mars, Fire. Sag Jupiter, Fire. He's got the fire in the chart. So he's got what we're looking for. Fire, air, and earth. Especially with that Taurus. That's huge. But let me explain the Rising and the Midheaven real quick. Rising is like what you come off as to the world. It's like the mask we wear in public. It's like when someone first meets you, you're kind of more like your rising sign to someone who doesn't know you that well. And then once you kind of get to know somebody a little better, you show a little bit more of your sun sign, which is like your personality. And then when you really get to know them and become like really close friends or whatever, that's when like you really expose who you really are on the inside, which is your moon sign. So that's kind of how I explain it. But your midheaven is like your career house. It's like midheaven kind of like determines what you may do in your career, what field you may go after, or what type of, trade you might do or art you might do. Like midheaven has a lot to do with that. So when these guys, their career arc is to play golf, their midheaven pertaining to golf, like it's huge. Like when somebody has a huge career potential weekend, I always pay attention to the midheaven because that's like when the stars literally align for them. That to be cheesy and use that line, but that's like kind of the truth. So midheavens are really important. So Max McGreevy, his midheaven's in Aquarius, if I'm right. I'm not 100% sure on him. I think it is though. So when the moon is in your midheaven sign, it lights up your midheaven, which makes you play better, makes you just, things kind of fall into place for you. Things come easier for you. Again, if you've ever been a golfer, you played out there, there's been some days where everything clicked. And that may have been because your midheaven was lit up by some sign in the sky, So that being said, those are the guys: Ben Griffin, Corey Connors, Nick Taylor, Chris Kirk, Keith Mitchell, Brian Harmon, Matt McCarty, Michael Brennan, Ryan Gerard, Max McGreevy. Those are my 10 outrights. I'm going to definitely put a unit on these guys. Now, I always go long shot / live betting watch. I don't start off the tournament with anything on these guys, but if they come out pretty well in the first few holes, first day, then I'll consider kind of throwing something on them. So the first guy I wrote down, who might honestly, I might end up putting something on him just because I really like his chart. It's Seamus Power, plus 9,000. He's Pisces Sun and Mercury, Taurus Moon and Mars. There it is. Cancer rising, Aries midheaven and Jupiter, and Aquarius Venus. So he's got everything in his chart to get through all 4 days. And if he's somehow there on the weekend, like if he's somewhere in the mix on Sunday, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a shot at winning it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, how he comes out. It's all about how he comes out. But I think he's going to come out pretty good because his Pisces sun will be lit up by the Sagittarius moon. We'll see. Next guy I like is Doug Gim, plus 10,000. He's like all Aries. Aries sun, moon, midheaven, and Mars. And that's that's one of the main signs we're looking at this week. Cancer rising, Taurus Mercury. So he's got some Taurus in his chart, huge for like his thinking, his, making decisions on the course. Gemini Venus, also huge when the Aquarius moon comes in. And then Capricorn Jupiter, not a bad look at all. Doug Gim is very streaky, but that's why we're going to wait to see how he comes out. And then the last guy I like is Neil Shipley, who is his debut technically on the PGA, I'm pretty sure, as a pro. I know he's played some amateur events a few years ago, but I like Neil Shipley. He did really well in the Corn Ferry last year, and he's plus 11,000, so high number, but again, you never know. Capricorn Sun and Mercury, Sagittarius Moon, huge, Taurus rising, Aquarius midheaven and Venus, Scorpio Mars, Gemini Jupiter. Again, it's worth to see how he comes out. It's his first PGA as a pro, tournament as a pro. He might be nervous. He may not be. He may be ready for the moment. There may be nothing to lose in his mind. So maybe that frees him up a little bit, loosens him up and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so those are those. Now I'm going to get into some top 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 picks. These are tough, but you kind of hit one, you kind of paid off all the other bets in this, at least in the top placement market. So top 5, I'm going with one guy. It's Ben Griffin at plus 340. I think his floor this week is top 5 if he doesn't win it. So that's a good number to me. Top 10, hopefully one of these guys hits to at least pay off the other, 2 bets if the other 2 don't make it. But if 2 of them make it, huge. We'll go with Matt McCarty. I already explained why I like him this week. He's plus 380 to finish in the top 10. I think that's a good look. I also like Nick Taylor, plus 350. He won last year. I think he's going to come out strong. And then Max McGreevy, plus 550. A little bit longer, but again, I just have a funny feeling about Max McGreevy this week. We'll see what happens. Top 20, I got 4 guys. I don't expect all of them to make. I don't really expect 2 of them to make it. Maybe one of them gets in the top 20. We'll see. Michael Brennan, plus 215. Doug Gim at plus 265. Seamus Power, plus 270. And then Ryan Gerard, plus 195. One of those guys has to make the top 20. Maybe 2 of them. We'll see. Top 30, I'm going Nick Dunlap, plus 270. Now, Nick Dunlap, you say, yeah, well, this is his time of the year. If he's going to play well, it's during Capricorn season. He is all cap. He's Capricorn Sun, Moon, and Mercury. I got Virgo rising and Jupiter, so a ton of Earth. Gemini midheaven, Aquarius, Venus, Mars, and Aries. So he's got some Aries in his chart. This is huge. I looked up the chart of the day when he won at the Amex, and it kind of is a little similar. There was air, earth, and fire in the sky. That's kind of what we're looking at this week. Maybe he's been working behind the scenes all summer long, or all fall long. I'm going to take a risk. Plus 270 to finish in the top 30. So Nick Dunlap. Let's see what he can do. I'm also going to take Isaiah Salinda, plus 350. Isaiah Salinda is a Pisces Sun, Mercury, and Venus. Taurus Moon, like Seamus Power. Aries rising, Aquarius midheaven, and Virgo Jupiter. Again, another guy I just kind of have a funny feeling about. I think he'll make the cut. And if he finishes in the top half of the cut, he'll pay off that bet, plus 350, the top 30. And then I got 2 guys in the top 40. We'll see. I'm going Neil Shipley at plus 125. I think he makes the cut. I think he beats out 20 plus other guys or whatever the cut is. And then I'm going Adam Svensson, the Canadian, at plus 130. Adam Svensson's a Capricorn Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and midheaven. Leo Moon, Aries rising, Scorpio Jupiter. He just has so much Capricorn and Aries rising in his chart. This guy's a hit or a miss. I mean, he's a very strong first round leader kind of guy, but he fizzles out. So he makes the cut, beats 20 plus guys. He could, top 40 is not out of the question for Adam Svensson, in my opinion. We shall see, though. All right, moving on, because we're taking a while here. Okay. Again, now we're doing first round leader bets. I always advise to keep this micro units. These are so hard to hit. You're taking one round to have any of these guys be the leader or tied for the lead at the end of the day, okay? So micro units, baby units, don't go crazy on these. Put $1 on these. Put, whatever you want, but don't go crazy. I'm going Ben Griffin at plus 3,500. It's kind of like the safe pick of my first round leader picks. But again, first round leaders are usually no names that just, come out and just find something that day. And it usually has a career related sign in there. So that's why a lot of Pisces and Sagittarius are on my chart or on my list for first round leader Thursday. And Aries too, because of all the Capricorn in the sky. But Ben Griffin with the Sag, the Taurus, it's a safe pick. And if he's going to have a good week, he should have a good first round to kind of get him going. So we'll see. My next guy is Matt McCarty at plus 5,500 for like similar reasons as Ben Griffin. Sag, Taurus, just a lot of earth and fire in this chart. That's going to be the theme of the day. I can see Matt McCarty coming out strong at plus 5,500. Next guy is his PGA rookie debut. He killed it on the KFT last year. I think he won the overall. I don't know. He got like he had the most points on the KFT. Johnny Kiefer, plus 6,500 in the first round. Capricorn Sun, Leo Moon, Aquarius Mercury, Pisces Venus, Scorpio Mars, Gemini Jupiter. I think he's a Sagittarius rising. That's just a guess. We'll see. If that's the case, maybe he comes out and he just is like, he's probably gonna be nervous. It's his first PGA Pro event, but this is when these guys kind of just come out, show up, show out, and So if he has a solid or crazy first round on Thursday, I don't want to miss out on that. Next guy, I'm a little worried about because he's been injured a lot, and I don't know how his form is, but Billy Horschel has a really good chart at plus 6,000. He's Sagittarius Sun and Midheaven. That's where the moon's going to be. Pisces Moon, Rising Mars, and Jupiter. So Pisces gets lit up career-wise by the Sagittarius Moon on Thursday. Pisces also goes really well with Capricorn. So it's a good look. And then his Mercury and Venus are Scorpio, which is another water sign. Goes great with Sag, goes great with Capricorn. So if Billy Horschel's been working on his game, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and has a really good first round. The next guy, I actually had him on my outright list, but I took him off, and if he wins, so be it. But Pearson Coody in the first round, plus 7,500. Capricorn Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Midheaven. Aries, Rising, and Jupiter. Sag, Venus, Pisces, Mars. That's why I really like it. The Sag, Venus, and the Pisces, Mars on top of his other Earth and Aries combination. It's a good look for a first round, you guys. Another guy I took off my outright list at the very end just because I don't know. I might regret it. Yeah, we'll see. Aaron Rye, plus 5,500. Pisces Sun, Aries Moon, and Midheaven, huge for day one. Cancer Rising is fine. Aquarius, Mercury, and Venus. That's why I liked him to win it. But actually, I might have to put him on the outright list. Aaron Rye, we're gonna keep an eye on him. Okay, watch out for Aaron Rye. But his Mars is Leo, Sagittarius is in Jupiter. That's huge for day one. I could see him coming out having a really strong day. And if he does, I'm probably going to have to put something on him to win. Because, we'll see. And then 3 more guys for first round leader. I'm going to go Seamus Power. He's got all the Pisces in his chart with all the Taurus, He's plus 8,000. And then I'm going to go Christopher Ritan at plus 6,500. I actually also had him on my outright list, and I took him off. And I don't have his chart pulled up, but I just know he's got a ton of Pisces and Aries in his chart, which again is huge for day one. So Christopher Ritan at plus 6,500 is a solid play. And then Mr. Thursday himself finishing it up this list with Keith Mitchell at plus 6,000. He's got so much Sag in his chart. He's got the Aries rising, the Cap Midheaven, I believe. Yeah, and I just feel like he's going to come out strong. He's Mr. Thursday for a reason, right? So watch out for Keith Mitchell. Okay, a few more picks, and then we're going to move on to the Dubai Open. Top European, this is a longer shot, plus 1,000. Seamus Power, we'll see. These are, don't go crazy on these bets. And then top rest of the world, I'm going Corey Connors to plus 850, and I'm also going to go Nick Taylor at plus 1,000. So if either of those two have the week I think they're going to, have, then they just have to beat out like 15 other guys for that pick at least. So we'll see. Okay. So those are my picks for the Sony Open. I'm not going to repeat them just because I'm kind of getting short on time here. But I'm going to move on to the Dubai Open. And again, just because there's only 2 tournaments this week, but if there's LPGA, if there's Live, if there's Corn Ferry, DP World Tour, PGA Tour, I'm trying to get a little bit exposure in all of them. But this week, there's only 2 tournaments, so I kind of spent a little more time deep diving into a lot of these guys. But the Dubai Open only has like 60 players in the field this week, so nothing crazy. That being said, I think Rory or Tommy are going to win it. It's so boring. Their charts are amazing. So you pick one or two, and then I have I have like 6 or 7 or 8 picks in the winner without market, which is without, I believe, Rory and Tommy. Is there somebody else I'm missing that is in the without market? Let's see, winner. Wait, where's the winner without market? Here we go. Yeah, it's without Tommy or Rory. Okay. So that being said, I had to pick Tommy or Rory. Well, the thing with the DP World Tour, and especially this week in the Dubai Open, they start on Wednesday, our time, which means they're going to finish Saturday, our time, which means that they're going to have a Sagittarius, Capricorn, Moon Transit tournament. Whereas the PGA, they're finishing on Sunday when the Aquarius moon comes in. So if they were finishing on Sunday, like the PGA Tour, I would have went with Tommy Fleetwood. But because they're not, I'm going with Rory McIlroy, and here's why. Rory is a Taurus Sun, Venus, and Midheaven. Aries Moon, there it is. Leo Rising, Gemini Mercury and Jupiter, and a Cancer Mars. Tommy is like Pisces and Capricorn and Aquarius Midheaven. If, like I said, if they were finishing on Sunday, I would have went Tommy, but because they're going to finish on Saturday, I'm going Rory. Plus 310. That's just my pick of the week, okay, for that outright at least. He may not win, but I feel like one of them will win it. So which is why we're going to go in the winner without market as well, because in theory, you could hit him and one of these guys. I've done it before. It's awesome, but it's hard, okay? So the winner without Rory or Fleetwood market, okay? First guy is Jaden Shaper at plus 1,000, who won the last 2 tournaments of the fall series in the DP World Tour. I got both of those hits on him. He's on a tear. Obviously, there's been like a month in between he's played. We'll see how it comes out, but he's plus 1,000 in the without market. He's a Pisces Sun, Scorpio Moon, Cancer Rising, Aries Midheaven and Venus, Aquarius Mercury, Sagittarius Mars, Gemini Jupiter. It's a good look. He's got the Aries, he's got the Pisces. And the Sag Mars is interesting. We'll see. I don't love his chart as much as some of the other guys I'm going to mention, but I just think his form is too good to not take him or mention him at least. Next guy, Shane Lowry, plus 1,200. Aries, Sun, Midheaven, and Jupiter. Taurus, Moon, and Mars. Fire and Earth, that's what we're going for. Cancer Rising, Pisces, Mercury, and Venus. Huge with the Sagittarius transit. So Shane Lowry is very live. He could even beat Rory or Tommy, in my opinion. But I think in the without market's a safer play. Plus 1,200. We'll see what happens. I also like Thorbjorn Olesen at plus 1,200 in the without market. Sagittarius, Sun, and Mars. Huge. Libra Moon. It's a little risky. Aries Rising. We like that. Capricorn, Midheaven, and Mercury. We love that. Aquarius, Venus, Cancer, Jupiter. It's worth a look. Next guy I really like is Matt Wallace, plus 2,000. Aries Sun, Scorpio Moon, Leo Rising, Taurus Midheaven and Mercury, Pisces Venus, Aquarius Mars, Cancer Jupiter. Just has a good chart all the way around, okay? Next guy I like is Eugenio Chacarra, plus 3,500 in the without market. Aries Sun, Mars Midheaven, Scorpio Midheaven. Aries Sun, Mars, and midheaven. Scorpio moon. I forgot I wrote that wrong. Scorpio moon. Cancer rising, Pisces, Mercury, and Venus. Taurus, Jupiter. Kind of a similar chart to Matt Wallace, but he's also been in good form throughout the fall. So I like Eugenio Chikara. Two more guys. Juice Lewitton, plus 4,500 in the without market. Capricorn Sun, Mercury, Venus, and midheaven. All the Capricorn. Sagittarius moon, that's where the moon's going to be. Aries rising, Scorpio Mars, Aquarius Jupiter. Juice Luton. It's a very good luck this week. The last guy, kind of just snuck him in there, is Martin Kuvra, plus 7,000. Capricorn Sun, midheaven, and Mercury. Cancer moon, Aries rising, Sag Venus, and Mars in the Leo Jupiter. So he's got what we're looking for when it comes to this week's transits. Okay. Top 5, I did a parlay. Rory and Matt Wallace finished in the top 5, plus 850. A little risky, but I like their charts, both their charts a lot. Okay. Top 10, Matt Wallace plus 220. I think that's his floor this week. We'll see. Eugenio Chikara plus 330. I think that's possible. And then feeling bold, go Rory and Chikara at plus 400 to both finish in the top 10. Okay, and then top 20, I'm going to go Juice Lewitton at plus 125. That might be the lock of the week. If you just want a single bullet, plus 125, Juice Lewitton in the top 20. I feel really good about that. And then I'm also going to add Martin Kuvra at plus 180 to finish in the top 20. Okay, again, there's only 60 guys in the field, so there's got to be a third of the field. And then I have 2 double chance bets just for fun. This is like either this guy or this guy wins. So I get Rory or Matt Wallace to win at plus 260. It's pretty low, but hey, it might be one of those two. They both have Aries and Taurus in their chart. That's really big this week. And then I also bet Jaden Shaper or Eugenia Chikara to win at plus 1,100. That's a little riskier. I don't blame you if you don't want to take that, but I just put it down for fun. Okay, I got 4 guys in the first round leader market. I'm not going crazy on this. So I took Nikolai Højgaard plus 2,000 because he's a Pisces Sun, Libra Moon, Cancer Rising, Aries, Midheaven, and Venus, Aquarius, Mercury, and Sagittarius, Mars. That's where the moon's going to be. It's going to light up his Pisces Sun, career sector. I don't hate it, okay? And then the next guy, Shane Lowry at plus 2,200. I read off his chart. He's got a lot of Pisces in his chart, Aries and Earth. That's what we're looking for. Shane Lowry plus 2,200 to finish in the first round. And then I'm also going to go Jaden Shaper at plus 2,200 for the same reason. A lot of Pisces and Aries in his chart. And also Eugenia Chikara. I did not write his number down. Can look it up real quick. But yeah, a plus 4,000 for Eugenia Chikara to finish in the first round. So just those 4 guys. And then I'm going to go top continental European. This is a risky one, plus 1,700. Eugenio Chikara, just because I love his chart this week. Top Spanish, Eugenio Chikara, plus 475. Top rest of the world, I'm going to go Jaden Shaper at plus 215. And top Danish, Thorbjorn Olesen at plus 230. Okay? So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my picks. A few things before we get out of here. So I'm going to put this on YouTube. I'm going to try to make some TikTok content too, not from this video. I'm going to make like an individual video for that. So look up the Stars and Parts podcast on YouTube and TikTok. That's where you can find me. Also, Spotify is really the main place I've been on. If you give me a 5-star rating on Spotify, that really helps me on Spotify. Leave a comment, leave a review, whatever. I appreciate it. If you have questions about anybody not mentioned or just want further explanation, you can hit me up at the Stars and Pars podcast at gmail.com. I'll answer your emails, whatever, hit me up. I'm also working on making like a logo or like a design for the Stars and Pars podcast, besides like the little AI one I made, which I'm not really proud of, but I want to make like a unique. So if anyone knows a legit graphic designer, graphic artist, logo creator, etc., hit me up, let me know. I'm just looking to kind of get something, just on paper and just, maybe like put it on a hat or something, whatever. So let me know if anyone knows anybody that is really good at that. But that being said, if you've been listening to this for the last 6 months, I really appreciate you guys. You guys rock. If you're new, and I, grabbed your interest, your curiosity about this, tag along. We're here. We're going to be here all season. I'm going to try to do this at least every week. I was thinking about doing DFS episodes on Monday, but it's a lot with my other job and stuff. So a lot to cover, but at least once a week, I'm going to try to cover any tournament that is going. So bear with me, and I appreciate the support. And yeah, subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, 5-star, subscribe, follow on Spotify. You guys rock. I appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great week. Best of luck to all. Let's hit some winners. And yeah, we'll see you next week, okay? Barring time, if I have it on the weekend. Like sometimes I do like a halfway show, like a midpoint show, to see how our guys are doing, or if there's somebody else that's surging that I didn't catch, but now I'm like thinking like, oh, he's probably gonna have a good finish with his chart and stuff. So keep an eye out for that. No promises on that. It's just all based on if I have time on Fridays or Saturdays. So that being said, appreciate you all. Thank you so much. This is the Stars and Parts podcast with your host, Evan Engel, and we will see you next time. Take care.